Anakam, namaste, and kia ora. Hi, it's Tom, and today my green stash video is going to take place in my shop, which displays some of my hoarder tendencies as well. I'm going to be using some of these remnants of the Zip, which I used in the shed, for some organization boxes in the shop. The principles I'm going to be focusing on in today's video are create to consume and make places for stuff. Here's the reason why my shop needs storage. I don't have places for stuff, and it just ends up taking up my workbench space, which needs to be used for work. My primary form factor is going to be this 14 by 14 by 14 box. I'm also going to do shorter boxes with the same dimension. This shop actually serves two purposes, one of which, of course, is the wood shop, but the second is as a set for GreenShortz education videos. One thing I've done with the set here is put a shelf on the back of the small wall, which rotates out for access. I've also covered the window with removable panels to let in a little bit of light for backlight, but also to let in more light when I'm working in the shop. We'll shed a little light on this subject. I'm going to start by processing a bunch of the Zip into 14-inch lengths, making sure that I'm starting with one square edge. Now in sets of 4, I'm going to rip down to a common height. So just maximizing the height of these strips of wood, but even them out in groups of 4. I'll probably do that whole stack there at the same width, just so I have some common sizes as well. Whew. Not something I want to mess with. My dad just had a accident on his table saw with some kickback, and just whenever I get a situation like that where I can't cleanly get the wood away, piece of wood away from the blade, I'm going to turn the machine off, let it stop, and then move it by hand carefully. So some of these need squaring up, which I'll do over on the chop saw. I've processed everything I'm going to use today, so now I'm going to stack it in sets of 4 sides with a bottom. I need to make a few more bottoms, but for now I'm going to use the CNC to cut handles into 2 of the sides, and then the other 2 sides I'm actually going to cut down to 13 inches. I'm gonna clean up the tabs, which broke off pretty nicely on their own. Now I'm gonna assemble my box with some glue and some brads. I'm going to switch to some 3/4 inch brads, and I'm going to add some cleats to the bottom. But I'm going to inset them the width of the board so that it will allow these boxes to stack. It's also a perfect use for some of these small triangular cutoffs. Create to consume, after all. I cheated this in just a little bit in the event that I'm not 100% square. A little wiggle room, literally. I'll clean these up with a wet rag in a bit. But happy with that. Another principle on the wall is finding inspiration. And my inspiration for this particular project is Neil Paskin of Pask Makes. He's a maker out of Australia, and he has a challenge that he gives himself called the Scrap Wood Challenge. He uses wood from his pile of scrap to make amazingly beautiful products. I wouldn't call this beautiful. This is definitely more utilitarian, and Neil's stuff is always beautifully finished, very detailed, very accurate. However, I love the fact that he's relying on those scraps. Some of the wood is good, as the intro says. Obviously, some of this wood is still good for this utilitarian purpose. So I've got a few more boxes to make, some more handles to cut, but now that I've got my prototype finished up here with the handles, I'm excited to apply this to the rest of those pieces. I'm going to put a link to Neil's channel in the description below. If you like what I'm doing here, you're really going to like what Neil's doing over there. Check it out. I forgot a step, cutting the sides down to 13. I'll pop the nails out. easy enough. That's better. I'm going to make some rolling frames for the bottom of the stack. The bottom box will be screwed down to this rolling frame, which I'm going to make using some ripped down dimensional lumber and some salvaged wheels. Trying to avoid that screw, but I hit it, so I'm going to back it out, put the wheel in, and then see if I can use it to hold the wheel in place. Using that screw coming in and clipping the side of this to hold it in place. I'm just going to tack this down in the event that I ever want to pop this off this frame and do something else with it. Of course, I wouldn't be doing Neil justice if I didn't give this a coat of paint. I'm doing some three-sided boxes as well, so I can load from this side. And when I have this exposed edge here, I'm going to cover it with a strip that has the vinyl on it. Where the particle board is separated a bit here, I'm going to put a little glue on there and then shore this up with some sawdust. As well as a few with a short front like this. So I can stick stuff back in them while they're still in the stack. For my paint, I'm actually going to mix up a bunch of old cans of paint. And I'm heading towards a gray. That should be attainable with a bunch of these light colors and then some black. We'll call it shop gray. I'll mix this all up in one bucket that I've got a nice tight lid for. And I'm mixing up a lot so I can have that consistent color throughout. Just gonna start with a little bit of black and build that color up. I can go darker, but I can't go lighter. Something told me that was gonna happen. I like pushing the limits. I was hoping for a little bit darker, but I think this will work. Drains here. I'm gonna wipe down the few that need it and then let them dry. making sure to hit the end grain a couple of times. That will soak the paint up and really help seal this OSB. I figure you've seen enough painting by now. So all of my painting is finished. I'm gonna let this stuff have a few hours to dry. What makes me happy is that the scrap left behind from this project is tiny pieces like this, as well as some bigger ones like this. So I'm perfectly happy throwing away the smaller stuff, but I actually have a project in mind for these pieces. So stay tuned for that. My first stack is a cutoff bin where I will put scraps of wood instead of tossing them onto the floor. I've actually got an open extension to make it a little taller with a beveled opening, so I've got lots of room to toss stuff in. My second stack will have some wood storage or tool storage on the bottom, and then a couple of project boxes. My third stack has some wood or tool storage, as well as a couple of project boxes. And I've got one extra project box to start on my next stack. Alright, now I'm going to use this new storage system to clean off my bench. Obviously, I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm so excited about this transformation. Just having a few more places to put things, stuff that I would have just kind of stashed somewhere, makes it so much easier to keep this shop clean. Of course, I still need to make a few more places for stuff, including a drawer that will go underneath that bench for a lot of those toolbox organizers that'll fit in there flat, give me a good place to store some tools I use on a regular basis. Special thanks to my patrons for helping make these videos possible. You can join me over on Patreon for extra content and a Discord channel where we can chat. This Hoarder series gets about twice as many comments as my regular videos, which tells me that a lot of you can identify with the things that I'm dealing with in terms of collection of materials and things like that. So if indeed your stash is as big as mine, you might want to pick up a t-shirt, which are right below the video here in the Teespring store. I've got gray and green, but there are other colors available there as well. As always, my mission here at GreenShortz is to help you see green so you can be green, and save a little green by doing it yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and share and subscribe for a new GreenShortzDIY video almost every Saturday.